The legendary professional wrestler Hulk Hogan has died. The WWE announcing on X they are saddened to learn that
in a moment that left the WWE universe shaken to its core, the legendary Hulk Hogan, one of the most iconic and transformative figures in the history of professional wrestling, passed away unexpectedly during the live broadcast of WWE SmackDown last Friday night. The loss of Hogan, real name Terry Bollea, has sent waves of sorrow and reflection across the globe, as fans, superstars, and legends alike pay tribute to the immortal icon. But perhaps no tribute was as stirring, raw, and emotionally charged as the one delivered by the dominant WWE faction known as the Bloodline, a group that represents the current generation of wrestling greatness while still respecting the legends who paved the way. The tribute took place during a somber but powerful segment on the most recent episode of SmackDown, broadcast live from Madison Square Garden. What had been initially promoted as a confrontation between Solo Sikoa, the new tribal chief, and Kevin Owens quickly transformed into something far more meaningful. A heartfelt homage to a man who was more than a wrestler. He was a cultural phenomenon. The tragic moment. Hogan's final appearance. Just hours before his passing, Hulk Hogan made what would be his final WWE appearance, entering the ring during a commercial break to wave to fans and hype up the crowd. A brief, spontaneous moment that would, in hindsight, serve as a farewell from the man known as the Immortal One. Eyewitnesses describe Hogan as upbeat and energetic, interacting warmly with longtime colleagues backstage. Yet, just minutes later, the arena's celebratory energy turned to horror when Hogan collapsed near the gorilla position. Despite the immediate attention of WWE medical staff and emergency responders, Hogan was pronounced dead shortly after, reportedly from cardiac arrest. He was 71 years old. A giant in wrestling history. Hogan's influence on professional wrestling cannot be overstated. He was the face of WWE, then WWF, in the 1980s and early 90s, helping to usher wrestling into mainstream popularity with his unmistakable charisma, towering frame, and unforgettable catchphrases. Whether it was body-slamming Andre the Giant at WrestleMania 3 or forming the rebellious NWO in WCW, Hogan was always at the center of the action. He made wrestling larger than life, said Triple H during a post-show press conference. Everything we do today, the stadium shows, the global tours, the crossovers into pop culture, all of it stands on the shoulders of what Hogan built. The Bloodline, generational icons honoring a legend. As the lights dimmed on this week's SmackDown, a video montage of Hogan's career played on the big screen. From his earliest matches in the AWA to his electric WrestleMania main events, the arena echoed with the unmistakable chords of Real American, Hogan's entrance theme, now played in tribute rather than triumph. Then, to the surprise of the audience, the Bloodline. Solo Sikoa, Tama Tonga, Jacob Fatu, and Paul Heyman made their entrance in black, their typical gold and red replaced by somber mourning attire. In a surprising twist, the faction that has dominated WWE with ruthless aggression took a moment to lower their defenses and reveal their humanity. Solo Sikoa speaks from the heart. Standing alone in the ring, Solo Sikoa, the stoic leader of the new Bloodline, addressed the WWE universe with an uncharacteristic vulnerability. This isn't about championships. This isn't about bloodlines or battles. Tonight, we say goodbye to a legend. Hulk Hogan was the reason some of us ever stepped into a ring. Before there was a tribal chief, there was Hulkamania. He paused, clearly fighting back emotion before continuing. As a kid, I watched him slam giants and tell people to train, say their prayers, and believe in themselves. He was a hero. Tonight, We honor him. Tama Tonga's emotional reflection. Tama Tonga, usually known for his ferocity and unpredictable style, took the microphone next. We're a group built on legacy, the Anoa'i family. But there's no wrestling legacy without Hogan. You want to talk about carrying a company on your back? That man was wrestling. He didn't just open doors for us. He built the house. He then looked into the hard cam and, with a shaky voice, added, "Hogan, you told us to believe in something bigger. You were that something. Thank you." Jacob Fatu. The enforcer shows vulnerability. Jacob Fatu, the powerhouse enforcer of the Bloodline, stood silently before placing a yellow bandana, reminiscent of Hogan's iconic look, in the center of the ring. This ain't a promo. This ain't a storyline. This is real life. Hogan made us believe in being larger than life. He didn't care where you came from. If you loved this business, you were family to him. Fatu's tribute was particularly moving, coming from a man known for his violent intensity. His gesture of placing Hogan's bandana in the center of the ring brought many in the audience to tears. Paul Heyman, wrestling's historian, delivers eulogy. Finally, Paul Heyman, the mouthpiece and strategic mastermind behind the Bloodline, stepped forward, his eyes red, voice subdued. "I've known Terry Bollea for over 40 years. I've seen the rise, the fall, and the resurrection. Say what you will about the controversies, the comebacks, the charisma. Hulk Hogan loved this business. He gave more than any of us ever could." He turned to the camera. "This business eats people alive. But Hogan, he lived for it. He died with it. And we are all better because of him." The segment ended with a 10-bell salute, the WWE Universe standing in silence. Even the most hardened critics of Hogan were moved by the sincerity of the moment. Fan reaction. It felt like saying goodbye to a father figure. Across social media, the reaction was immediate and emotional. I grew up watching Hogan with my dad. Watching the Bloodline honor him like that. It felt like losing part of my childhood all over again, wrote one user on X, formerly Twitter. Another fan posted, "I didn't expect the Bloodline to be the ones to deliver the tribute, but it made perfect sense. Generational greatness, honoring generational greatness." WWE officials confirmed the tribute was not originally scheduled, but was created just hours before the broadcast, after confirmation of Hogan's passing. The segment, reportedly overseen creatively by Triple H and Roman Reigns, who remains off TV due to injury, was designed to be a brotherhood, sending one of their own home. Behind the curtain, Hogan's relationship with the Bloodline. Though Hogan's prime years came long before the Bloodline's reign, there was deep mutual respect between the two entities. Roman Reigns, in particular, often cited Hogan as a foundational influence in interviews. "You can't be the face of WWE without understanding who Hogan was," Reigns said in 2021. Off-camera, Hogan reportedly offered guidance to many of the Bloodline's members during their early developmental years in NXT and FCW. Paul Heyman, who had a complex but respectful relationship with Hogan through decades of business dealings, said in a backstage interview, "Terry was flawed. He was human. But he was also magic. The way he connected with a crowd, that doesn't happen twice in a lifetime." The future WWE plans Hogan Tribute Show. In response to the overwhelming reaction from fans and talent alike, WWE has announced a Hulk Hogan Tribute Night, set for next Friday's episode of SmackDown. The entire show will be dedicated to the memory, career, and cultural impact of Hulk Hogan. Superstars from every generation are expected to appear, including John Cena, Ric Flair, Stone Cold Steve Austin, and even Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. who shared his own heartfelt tribute online. Without Hogan, there is no Rock. Period. Thank you, brother. Rest easy. Real American, wage Hulkamania forever. Final words. What Hulkamania meant to the Bloodline. And the world Hogan's passing is not just the end of a career, it feels like the closing of a chapter in professional wrestling's long and storied history. For decades, Hulk Hogan was wrestling. His catchphrases, his presence, his signature poses, they transcended wrestling, becoming embedded in pop culture worldwide. For a group like the Bloodline, who represent both legacy and evolution, to honor Hogan was fitting. They stand on the shoulders of giants, and few giants loomed as large as Hulk Hogan. As the final image of SmackDown showed the words, "Thank you, Hulkster," fading on the Titantron, a sea of fans raised their arms in Hogan's signature pose, many in tears. The chant started quietly, then roared through the arena. And for one final moment, it felt like Hulkamania lived again.